you are the first Master Sommelier in China ever.
Yes, I'm the first in China.
And now how many do we have now?
Uh,
Together in mainland China?
In mainland, only me, still me.
Still you, right?
Yeah, so I passed in 2017. I was the first Chinese Master Sommelier in the whole world. And last year, one of our friends in Taiwan passed it. So he's the second one. But,
so that's the thing. And I find it, first of all, I mean, Master Sommelier I started, this pod called Master's Table.
Yes.
And I thought, and I'm very blessed because we have so many great masters that already want to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
But then with you is actually you came to mind straight away because you're a real title Master Sommelier for the Master's Table. So I thought, tell us or tell me, what does it take to do that? I mean, I guess when I listen to you, definitely you got the intellect. I mean, you've got the passion, the kind of intellect of studying,
yes.
Right? But I'm sure there's a lot of hard work, a lot of trial and error that you had to do.
Well, yes, but during the moment, it's both suffer, but also satisfaction that you are learning something, right? But after you pass the exam, you look back, you say, this is okay, it's not so hard. But yes, as you said, Christopher, it's the highest rated or claimed certification you can get in the world of wine. I think at this moment there's less than 300 in the whole world. You go through different levels. That I think my advantage, and all the Chinese, we are very good at studying, right? But my advantage is because my background in, even though I did not graduate from physics degree, but I know you have to study in a logical way.
Right.
Not only memorizing all the appellations, all the laws, all the different characteristics of vintage, but you have to understand it. You have to put them in the context that's why I love teaching so much. Because when you teach, you have to let your audience or students understand very quickly in a logical way.
Right.
If you cannot talk logically, they cannot understand. So when I try to study, I put everything, all the information together, and I study them logically. I try to understand them instead of just memorize them. And I think at the beginning it's a suffer, but later on, it makes your life easier. But more importantly, you need to know how to focus. There's so many things in our life.
Right.
You have a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Letter Red Book, Bilibili, everything. You have to block yourself, and you have to learn how to study with a little segment of time on the subway, on the flight, or anyway, and then come back to focus. Yeah. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I mean, people say when you do what you love, you don't work, right? So that's what we do. Yeah.
And then, so what kept you motivated to? Because how long does it take to pass the Masters?
There's 4 levels in the exam. The first level is called introductory. The second level is called certified. Mm-hmm. The third level is called advanced sommelier, and last level is called master sommelier. From level 1 to level 4, which the last level master sommelier, it took me 10 years. I did my level 1 in New York in 2007. Also in July, I remember very, very vividly. I took a 10-hour bus trip from New York, from Toronto to New York. Then it took me 10 years and passed my Master Sommelier in 2017 in London. Yeah. So it's a long journey, but it's very rewarding. Yeah.
And then how, any advice, like if someone wants to do that, any advice on how to start or not to stop? Because I know a lot of people have tried, and they have to give up. Because I think if you take it too many times, you cannot continue.
You have to repeat and all this. I think the first thing is there are no studies to be your second job.
Right.
You have your day job, and studying, tasting, just immerse yourself in wine should be your second job. There is no second option. There is no balance between family, work, and study. It should be just work and study. And the second of my advice is treat it as an extension of your work.
Right.
You should be good at it because you are good at what you do on the floor or as a wine director. That should be your priority. If you're good at them, it's easier for you to pass the exam. It's not the other way around. Many people think, oh, I pass the exam, I can be better at my job. No. Work, study, exam, and the competition should be an extension of your work, not the other way around.
Not doing this like as a principal thing and then just like neglecting the other job. It's really
that's wrong, because many young generations, they think, okay, I pass the exam, I win the championship in the competition, then I can get a better job, I can work better, I can have a better, how can I say, experience or no, it's the other way around. You have to be very good at your own job. Then you can pass your exam easily, or you can win the competition easily, not the other way around.
No, it's interesting, whatever kind of book you read about success or successful people, each and every one of them, or you listen to podcasts, they all talk about, money is not really why they do this, right? It's really the passion of it. Yeah. And then eventually, kind of things come up, right?
Exactly.
And that's kind of your message here.
I fully agree with that, right.
Yeah. This is a personal question. Now, when when they told you that's it, you are Master Sommelier, right? How did you feel? And still, how do you feel now?
Well, it's getting old because how many years? 8 years since I passed.
All right.
But at that moment, I was very happy. You accomplished something, because we're going forward so fast. And one moment like this happened, you stop, you look back, all the journey, you pat yourself, okay, at least something you have achieved, right? But more importantly, I think I tell you the truth, at that time, I have only two thoughts. One is my parents, my family, the people who love me, I made them proud.
Yeah.
That's very important for me. And second thing, I said, okay, finally, I don't need to study the wines I don't like to drink anymore. And I don't need to study the region that I don't like.
Right.
I don't need to go into drink so much of the wines that personally I don't like the style.
Right.
Finally, I can focus on the wines I like, the regions I really love, and I can talk about the wine in a way that I like. I describe wine as music, as poem, as painting, but in the exam you cannot do it. Right? So finally I can do it. And so I tell them, it's true, you do the whole day exam. At about 6 or 5 o'clock, you receive the result. We had a toast with all the candidates.
So where was it?
In London.
Okay.
I passed in Palma in London. So that year was very lucky. 3 of us passed.
Wow.
Usually it's only 1 or 2, right? 3 of us passed. So,
and then how many were doing the exam?
We have 30-something or 40, yeah. The pass rate is very low, naturally.
Right.
So we had a toast and everything. Nice to meet you. So we had to all go back to our home country, right? It's people from all over the world. Then I went to Chinatown in London. I had a bowl of Lanzhou la mian,
right,
and 2 Qingdao beer.
Yeah,
that's it. And go home and crash. The flight was the next day in the morning at 6, and I arrived in Hong Kong in the 6 in the morning. I just went direct to the office and back to work.
Like, that's interesting, like talking about ethic of work, right? And I think that's interesting for, the listeners in terms of, you were saying about if you want to be successful, and you could adapt this to anything, right? The Master Sommelier exams is that you need to have, there's no going around it. You have to work hard.
Exactly.
there's a base of your work, but also, just continue to, be responsible for what you're doing. Right?
Exactly.
And it's not because you just had the award that you just, let it go. And for you, it's that you just continue.
You have to continue. I know a lot of my friends or fellow sommeliers, because in order to pass the exam, they said, okay, 1 year before the exam, I quit my job.
Right.
I just focus on the exam. That's not the right way. Like I said, an exam should be an extension of your career.
Right.
So for me, I don't endorse that. I know people doing that. Some of them are successful doing that. Maybe they finally pass the exam, but that's not the way I endorse.
So you can apply. Yes, you could apply this to anything. Right?
Exactly. Because in the end,
good encouragement.
Yeah, in the end, yes, going through the exam, you learn so much about wine. That's the liquid that we all love.
Right.
But in the end, you have to create value.
Right.
And you cannot create value without work.
Right.
right? So
So now let's go now to building the wine culture in China today, right? I mean, you are really at the center of it, right? And where do you see the wine business going now? The next 5-10 years, right? I mean, share with us.
everyone had different opinion on this. I think wine in the last 10 years, no matter it's wine importation, no matter it's domestic wine production, no matter it's consumption volume, they all decreased slightly in mainland China.
Right.
But we see, for me, the very positive sign is that we see the growth of fine dining restaurant. Maybe calling them fine dining can be a bit snobbish, but the modern Chinese cuisines, and they understand the value and the importance of wine. And food, the food sector is so much bigger than wine. If they want to help us a little bit as wine industry, they can help us a lot. If they want to have a good wine program, have good sommelier on the floor, it can really attract a lot of attention, a lot of new lovers for wine. So that's a positive sign. And also the other positive sign is that a lot of younger generation of wine lovers. I mean, during the Paka days, in the Peninsula days, we sell a lot of wines.
Right.
You remember John Mark sold a lot of wines.
Right.
I sold a lot of wines during the Peninsula days. But the people who buying wine, who drink wine, they are my father's age, or maybe 10 or 15 years older than I am. Nowadays, if you go to hotel or good restaurant, the people drinking wines are in their 20s or 30s. They are very young.
So the generation.
Yeah, the
changed,
generation,
right?
and the reason for their consumption also changed. Back in the days, the reason of consuming so many fine wines is maybe business occasion.
Right.
Maybe you try to get a deal done. And nowadays, young people drink wine because they really love it. They have traveled around the world. They've been to New York, been to Paris. They see good wineries, and they're very knowledgeable. They're very knowledgeable.
So they want to understand the flavor profiling,
Exactly.
The depth of the wines, where they come from, the history.
And they're very adventurous.
Right.
They are not only like the previous generation drinking the Bordeaux, Champagne, famous producers. Now they're very adventurous. You can try obscure grape varieties they never heard,
and they're interested.
But they want to try it. They want to see it.
It's interesting because a friend of mine, also in the wine, quite an expert, always says that the Chinese palate is so developed because of the Chinese teas that you try, and that helps you to also able to recognize the grape varietals when you try them, right?
Yeah, I think tea is one thing, but also cuisines. I mean, we see Chinese cuisine. It should not be a singular word. It should be Chinese cuisines.
Oh, right? For sure.
There's so vast of land, so many ingredients. So many
Some people say 8 cuisines, but how many do you say in China?
Oh, it will be more.
But like 12,
more than that,
20.
Even just within the Zhejiang province, you have a Hangzhou cuisine, Ningbo cuisine. Now Taizhou cuisine is so famous, and now you have Fuzhou cuisine. There's so many.
So it's like 5 within. With Zhejiang food.
Yeah,
Zhejiang cuisine, you got 5 or 6.
At least. Yeah. Right. So the cuisine really, I mean, we are lucky as a Chinese that we taste so many different food. And also one thing that I think is very special to Chinese taste, the ability of us, of Chinese people, to understand texture.
Texture.
Yeah, I think texture, I mean, if you talk to a lot of chefs, they give you the same answer, even the Western chefs, because, I mean, the Chinese are very sensitive to different texture. And I think you find a different texture in wine as well, not only in food.
Right.
So I think in China, naturally, with all the history, the cuisine, the tea, and everything, I think we should love wine. We should drink wine.
So that on this, I mean, I'm interested to learn from you about the Chinese food pairing or food pairing with Chinese food.
Yes.
What are the kind of must do that you think about?
Well, I always say the first, like it's just like the movie Fight Club, right? The first rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club, right? But I think the first rule is no rules.
No rules.
You need to be brave. You need to be bold, and you have to try everything. You really don't know how it works until you put it in the mouth. But I think when you pair with wine, with Chinese cuisine, different with Western cuisine, that ingredient is the main thing you look at. In China, there's 3 other things I always look at besides ingredient. One is the knife skill. In Western cuisine, for example, we serve a beef.
Right.
It's steak or stewed and all this. But in China, you can have a slice of beef,
Right.
almost like noodles,
Right.
or you can chop up
Right.
minced beef.
Right.
It changes the texture completely, right?
So the cutting.
Cutting,
Yeah.
that's one thing I look at. The second is the cooking method. We have so many cooking methods: blanch, poach, raw, stir fry, quick fry, everything, right? So the cooking method really change as well, right? For example, beef, when you just poach it, you compare it with white wine, no problem at all. And the third thing is sauce. Chinese is we're very talented at have different sauce, just like French cuisine.
Right. Yeah,
right?
I was going to talk about this.
Yeah. So saucier is very important.
Right.
So, for example, a lot of fish, we have a certain sauce that you can mix the fish pair with a red wine.
Right.
So that's the three things I look at besides ingredients.
It's interesting. So I'm a certified French chef diploma, right?
Okay.
I started from the age of 14 to 19. And one of the things is the sauces. And when I actually did, during COVID, I did WSET #2 during COVID just to refresh myself. Because I go to all these wine dinners and all these things, but I didn't have a proper methodology to describe my feelings for the wines. And really what I took out of this is I loved when you describe, like a medium to long finish, for example, on the wine, so you get it, you can feel it. And now it helps me to describe sauces.
Yes.
Because sauces, it's like, especially like you said, the French and the Chinese sauces are one of the tricks to kind of, like supreme gastronomy.
Exactly.
Somehow.
Yeah. And I think that's important because during our consultancy to all these Chinese restaurants, we also give
feedback to them.
Not only feedback, but we give the chef wine courses. So all these young chefs, they are timid to learn about wine, but we help them to learn wine, and they understand the flavor profile, and it gives us so much confidence when they present the guest. Okay, this is the wine I like.
Right.
Particularly pair with well with my dish. Yeah.
So then they get the confidence. Then they can be more experimental. Right?
Exactly, and no one sells wine better than the chef.
Right.
You imagine chef is cooking for all the guests. That's okay. I tried 100 wines. This one is exactly the best for this food. Everyone buy it.
I love this. This is a good one. The chef to recommend the wine.
No one can sell better.
Now let's go into kind of your leadership. You're as a leader, right? For you today, you go to all these restaurants and you have, I'm sure you recommend sommeliers. For a chief sommelier today, what are the leadership traits that you need?
Well, I think the cliche is to say lead by example, even though it's cliche, but that's the truth, right? I mean, you have to work harder than your team.
So they can respect you.
Yes, yeah. I mean, especially in China. I found all this more in China that I find more in China than the Western world. That a successful company, the founder is a whole of everything.
Right.
Yeah, and the founder is set the tone, lead by example.
Should work harder than the team, right?
Yeah, and.
That applies to a chief sommelier or anybody.
Everywhere. I mean, if you're a founder of your own company and all this, that's the essential thing you can do. Yeah.
So really leading by example, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a learning for everyone, right? I mean, I must say, on my example, I've had the chance to work with the Mori building, the Park Hachai owners. Before was the Granite Tokyo. And everyone would tell me, oh, but why do they like you so much? Why? And actually, it wasn't that I was the smartest, or it's just that I worked hard or arrived earlier than everyone and stayed later and tried to understand and be an example, right?
Yeah.
So that's something you recommend.
Yeah, and I think the other key advice I would give is to give the feedback on the moment.
Right.
I know we have the annual review for the staff and all this, but give the feedback at the moment.
Right.
They are right. Give compliment. If they're wrong, you can be angry or you can be very serious, but let them on the moment. At that moment, you need to let them know you're right or wrong.
So like after the service, you take them on the side, one-on-one, and then tell them straight.
Yeah, even just after this table, when they look at the wrong wine, let them know right away.
Right.
Do not wait.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's important to give
then they can learn.
Yeah, feedback at the moment. Yeah.
So now let's talk about what the trends today, right? What's happening in the world of wine, and then what do you think the Chinese consumer also really would love to have, and how do you see that?
I think in China right now, Burgundy is a big thing. Rightfully so. I think there's a lot of attribute to Burgundy that make it so popular and so dominant in the fine wine market. I think champagne is the future as well.
Right.
I love champagne. If socially acceptable, I can take shower in champagne. And myself, I think there's a couple trends that is upcoming. One is I think the white wine will play a more important role in China, in Chinese circle.
Right.
You remember back in the days, it's almost like nine bottle of red wine
for one bottle of
white wine. But I think white wine will be so much more important.
Right.
It's more refreshing, easier to drink, and also with the rise of the female consumers, white wine will be very important. And I think Chinese wine is getting more and more influential. I think also that's another positive.
Like
side.
a Baijiu?
No,
like a Chinese. Oh yes, a Chinese-made wine by wineries.
From Shangri-La, from Yunnan, from Xinjiang. Right. I think Chinese wine are making bumps and leaps in terms of qualities, and they are just learning how to tell the right story. How to tell the story more colorful, more impactful. And because right now, young people, we drink wine not only based on the quality, but more based on the emotional value.
Right.
I drink certain wine not because it's the best wine, it's 100 points, but I feel attached emotionally or sentimentally or even valuely to that wine. So I think all the Chinese producers, they're slowly finding a way to learn how to tell the story.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting what you're saying. I had the chance to visit, Bordeaux and Burgundy and Champagne many times. But one thing that Bordeaux did very well is when you go there, they story tell so well, and then you become attached to a chateau or a house, maison, whatever, right?
Yes.
And I think that's something that you see, the Chinese wines working on, right?
Yeah, storytelling. Yeah.
Right, storytelling. Today, if you have to design a wine experience, right, the perfect wine experience for a dinner, what would it be?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah. First of all, it has to be personal.
Right.
I know a lot of people doing dinners with gathering all the big labels and all this, but it has to be personal. I mean, like I said, I would put certain sherry into it. Even people maybe not too accustomed to sherry, Riesling, a bang on Riesling, very saline, very mineral, and maybe some funky wines that people have to be more adventurous to try. Really based on the scenario but it has to be personal. The people curating the wine dinner and the wine experience has to be personal and has to be fun, interactive. I think people drink a lot of wines that try to prove themselves that okay, this is better than that one, this is better than that one. For me, go in a long way. Yes, we need to understand what is quality. 2 bottles of wine, there must be certain quality attribute that makes this one better. But I think more importantly, we need to see the beauty and the difference behind. I mean, honestly, I put a bottle of Roumier, Mounier together. They are both beautiful wines.
Right. But so different.
Yeah, you need to understand, how to appreciate them. Yeah, I think that's instead of just judging which one is absolutely better, you lose the fun of it. Yeah.
Now, on a personal level, now you have 2 daughters.
Yes.
And now so how do you bring back all the knowledge or the experience, your life in the wine world, and how do you bring that back to them? Well, of course they're a bit young, but still, I think you start. You're growing them and raising them.
Yeah.
So how do you share that with them?
Well, obviously, they cannot drink wine. They cannot at this moment.
Well, the French from the age of 8 years old, they put a little. This is a little bit of red and water inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I asked them to smell it.
Yeah.
But I think wine changed my life.
Right.
And I'm very fortunate with it. And as one professional, we are able to travel around the world, meet interesting people, drink interesting wine, listen to interesting stories. And maybe my daughters, they won't get into this business. They will have their own way. They will have the things that they love themselves. But I think what I try to bring them, maybe not just to taste wine, but what wine had told me is to always be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Always be curious. Always keep your eye open.
I like the be curious thing, right?
Yeah, even no matter how old you are, be curious. Be bold, be brave to try everything you want to try. So that's that's a kind of ideology I try to implement into them.
No, that's beautiful. I think, when you talk about leadership and kind of giving good influence to your children, I must say there's one thing, for example, with my children, they're like 22, 21, and if you ask both of them, they'll say one thing with dad is it's just so hardworking. They always had this impression of dad working very hard. And I must say, at their young age of 22 and 21, they got that ethic in what they do, right? So when they got total different, one is kind of in the corporate work and then the other one more on the creative side, but both of them are super focused on, they know that, to get success, you need to work at it. And that's something I think you will also share with your little
Very much
girls,
so.
right?
And I think, no one knows the future, but I think each generation all have our own difficulties. And each generation all have our own advantages. People think, okay, in the future, the world will be so competitive. You guys don't retire and you still occupy the best position and all this. But I think younger generation, it's very difficult for them to get focused like what we do. So once this younger generation learn how to focus, it can already surpass many of the peers already.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a few little quick, easy questions.
Yes.
But what's your favorite grape variety?
For white wine is Riesling.
Riesling.
For red wine is Syrah.
Syrah.
I love Syrah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to taste that again.
I love
There's
Syrah.
Riesling also. I love Riesling. If there's one wine that changed your life, you went, oh my God. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the wine, but I remember the moment. It's when I just started to learn about wine. It's a little story I always tell that, I think what is beautiful about wine, it brings up memories.
Right.
And there is a wine that has such a pure and impressive and fresh aroma of mulberry, Sangshen,
Right.
mulberry. And when I smell that wine, when I drink the wine, that's when I first learned about the wine during the tasting. And the memory of me and my cousin when we were 4 years old, climbing over the wall of my grandparents' house to go to my neighbor's place to steal the mulberry on the tree, everything come back.
Wow.
The nervousness, the sunshine, even the dust on the wall when you climb over is vividly in my brain now. And that memory will never appear until I drink that wine. So that's the one that really changed my life.
Wow.
I think wine in the end is bring back emotion, bring back memories.
So that's wine. But when you don't drink wine, what is that drink you go for?
Gin tonic.
Gin tonic.
I love gin tonic.
Go to drink.
I have a special way to make gin tonic. Put couple drop of balsamic vinegar into it.
Right?
Yeah, I will make it.
White balsamic vinegar or
well, if you don't mind the color, use the dark ones.
yeah,
okay.
that's still good.
Yeah, that's my trick.
So that what? Two drops?
2-3 drops. Yeah.
2-3 drops. Beautiful. Now, that one dish that makes you happy when you have, you need some comfort. What is that one dish you like? Noodle.
Yeah, and with
any
soup.
type.
With soup. Yeah.
Or noodle soup.
Noodle soup.
Any type.
It can be rice noodle. It can be all kind of noodle. I'm die-hard fan for noodle starch.
Now, if you could share a bottle with that one person in the world, it could be past, present. That you would love to share a bottle. That someone that you like respect, or who would that person be?
It has to be my father.
Your dad.
Yeah. My father. Yeah.
So your dad is he loves wine too?
Well, my dad has a liver condition that they cannot drink wine.
Oh, okay.
But my dad really respect what I do and proud of what I do. So even he did not drink wine, he reads so many books about wine, and he can talk like a professional already.
Okay.
He wants to know what I'm doing.
Right.
So he put himself in a position to learn as much as he can, even though he cannot drink. But he knows all the regions, all the knowledge, all the varieties, so he can be in conversation with me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so that's really touched me a lot, and he passed away 3 years ago, which is the worst moment in my life. So if there's one person I want to share it with, it would be with him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he must be so proud of you.
And he had a good life.
That's good. Yeah. That's beautiful, and I can imagine. And you know, I had a heart problem, and I couldn't drink for 10 years.
Okay.
And during COVID, I did WSET2.
Yeah.
So I went, you know, James Suckling at the time in Hong Kong.
Yes.
He did some master classes there. So I went to try. So actually, I was trying, but I wasn't drinking it.
Okay.
I would try it and spit.
Okay.
So actually, one could also try wine.
Yes, without indulgence.
But the whole tasting is pretty amazing.
Yes.
It's an experience in itself. So listen, we're almost there. Thank you so much today. But what's next for you? What are the big ideas, the big things you're going to be doing now?
We have a few things in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer not to reveal them.
you don't have to. You don't have to.
But no, I can tell what we're aiming for. You know,
Right.
I don't need to go into the specifics. Not because it's a secret or something. It's just I'll be ashamed if I don't achieve it. But the aim is still to make Chinese drink again.
Yeah,
make more Chinese young people to fall in love with wine again.
Right.
Make wine more accessible, more playful, less dogmatic. So it's a part of life. It's your language. It's a book you read. It's a movie you watch. It's a music you listen, and it's the wine you drink.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know, just be yourself. Yeah.
Be yourself is a good one. Actually, Jean-Marc at the time was like that. When you tried wines, and he made it so simple for people to describe themselves how they felt about that wine. I think, and be yourself is beautiful.
Yeah, be yourself. Yeah.
Before we finished, and it was truly an amazing masterclass. I have one last question. There's one message you can leave to all these sommeliers that you have in China, but in the world, or anyone that wants to become a sommelier in the future? What is that one message you want to give them?
Always remember why you are in this business. Always remember why you want to be a sommelier. You know, we go along the way, accolades come, better job come, different people come, different restaurant. But always remember why you want to become a sommelier. Even though it's for the wrong reason, I endorse you as well, but always remember why you become a sommelier. Yeah, be honest to yourself. I think that's a thing that I learned along the way. Always try to be extremely honestly to yourself.